Hello and welcome to Conversations with the Mayor. Today we're having our conversation on the beach, and what a lovely day it is on the beach. Welcome, Dan. Good to have you.
Always a pleasure, Ed.
Yeah, and we were talking about the weather. God shines on this festival, yeah?
I'm telling you, the more I think about it, as we were sitting here earlier, I was thinking, why don't we just have a continuous sand sculpting festival from Memorial Day right through Labor Day? It will assure us good weather, right? So,
amen, especially for the momentous occasions anyway when they're coming up, which is when you really want them. Yeah. Looking at the festival, we've got 16 sculptors this year, international. It's just incredible to see the field that's here, and then in particular the centerpiece. And we were talking about the centerpiece, Stars and Stripes, I believe is the title, if you will. But it's a credit, if you will, to the armed forces, the people in the armed forces.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, if it's not reason enough for people to come down to the Sand Sculpting Festival, for all of these terrific, as you alluded to, 16 internationally renowned sand sculptors that are down here creating these incredible sand sculptures for people to look at. If that's not reason enough, if there was no other reason just to come down and see this centerpiece, that they're calling Stars and Stripes, which is a tribute to our armed forces, that is reason enough to come down here in my mind.
And thank you. Tribute was the word I was looking for. I just couldn't find it.
Yep.
And you mentioned that related to the tribute, on the ceremonies on Saturday night and on Revere Day on Sunday, you will be doing some tribute to the armed forces. Talk about that.
Yeah, so the kickoff, the official kickoff, although, as you can see, people are coming down here now already to look at the sand sculptors at work. But the official remarks, I suppose, kickoff of the festival will be at 7 p.m. on Friday, which will acknowledge our, members of our armed forces, not only across the city of Revere and the state of Massachusetts, but really across the country. This is, as you alluded to, an international festival now. And so we're obviously gonna pay tribute to the men and women of our armed forces, and then again on Revere Day, on Sunday at 5:45, we're gonna have municipal employees that are veterans come down and join us in the remarks on Sunday, celebrate Revere Day as we honor them for their service.
Yeah. And let's talk about the Revere Beach partnership for a minute. And I know you've worked with them because I was involved for years, and you've been worked in the previous mayor, Tom Ambrosino, worked with them. And the city's always been very, very contributive to, if you will, to the effort. It's so great to see how successful an event this has become and how much it's helped them with all the other things that they do.
Yeah, well, as we all know, this is our 11th year now. The Revere Beach Partnership, had launched this festival 11 years ago. It's done nothing but grow ever since, grow and evolve. John Hamill, who's been the president now the last couple of years, has taken it to now a whole different level. There is just so much to do down here, and it's obviously we've expanded the number of sand sculptures. We've brought in the food trucks that in and of itself, if people weren't interested in sand sculptures, they could come down, and it's essentially a food festival. Every different type of culinary offering that you could want is going to be here through these food trucks. So it's been a tremendous process, and I have to say this, Ed, the city does make a financial commitment to this because we know what it means to our city, and I really need to thank the city council for their support, because when I prepare the budget and I add money in there to support this event, the city council is in unison, in lockstep, in supporting those funds, and I hope and trust that they'll continue. I know that I will.
Yeah, and it, like you said, it's money well spent, I think, anyway, in terms of putting the city out there to the world, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's great. The Revere Beach Partnership does other things. They have the farmers market and other activities that go on the beach during the summer. So there's more than that. And then I also heard, and it was great to hear them talk about proceeds from the event going to fund other things. For example, they want to do a playground somewhere here in the beach area, and possibly maybe even a carousel. And it's so great to hear those plans.
They're very lofty goals, and knowing the caliber of people we have serving on the Revere Beach Partnership, while they're lofty goals, they're goals that absolutely can be accomplished. It would be tremendous to bring a playground in down here for kids to enjoy, and obviously, if for historical and I suppose nostalgic purposes, to be able to put a carousel down here that really, will bring back those days of certainly days that you and I remember, but a lot of young kids. Yeah. I see your grandson sitting over there. He wouldn't remember those days,
True.
but we certainly enjoyed the rides that were down here, and I think that would be great for people like your grandson and other kids to be able to come down and enjoy some of the history that the city
yeah, so we're looking forward to that day when we'll be able to christen the carousel, yeah? Celebrate Revere Day. Talk a little bit about that. How, what it was, what it is now.
Yeah, it's just a day that, certainly we encourage all people from everywhere. This has long been a source of passive recreation for people all across the region. And, but, this is our chance to show the rest of the world what Revere is all about. And we'll have a lot of activities down here that day for people to enjoy. And it just gives us a chance to showcase our city and certainly our beautiful beach. As we look out here in the water right now, you've got people out here enjoying the water. I was talking to one of our residents that's been here for about 15 years now, and he talks about when his son was small and going in the water and coming out of the water with seaweed all over him, and they'd have to take a shower, and what it's like today and how different it is. If you look at an aerial view of Revere Beach, you can see literally 8-10 feet down. Yep. And you can actually see the bottom. It's such a different beach than maybe what a lot of people remember from back in those days.
Amen.
So,
yeah, it is quite the jewel. And again, getting back to the Celebrate Revere, so that is Sunday. That's the day after the closing ceremonies here.
Yep.
It will be in the same area at the bandstand.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a program that's basically run and managed by the Recreation Department. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes, Michael Hinojosa. And I just want to take this opportunity. I only have once a month to have a conversation with you, Ed. So I've got to get these things in when I can. I really have to take my hat off to Michael Hinojosa, Colleen Argenzio, John Camerata, the rest of the crew down at the rec center that really, again, I hate to be redundant, but they seem to keep taking it to another level. The participation is way up, and they continue to talk about creating programs that contribute to the quality of life for not just kids in the community, which obviously, as you know, is very, very important to me, but for people of all ages. So and this Celebrate Revere Day will be just another example of their hard work.
By way of corroboration, I've heard that from other avenues in terms of how much, I won't say better, but how much more there is to the program now for people and children. So he's doing a great job. I agree with you.
Thank you very much, Ed.
Another thing that recently took place, again, somewhat related to the beach, was the celebration in commemoration of the mural that was done by, and Alex, I don't remember his first name, and unfortunately I can't remember his last name, a gentleman from Beachmont who was commissioned to do the mural at the beginning of Shirley Ave. Talk about that a little bit. I think you were there, yes?
Yeah, well, back in 2012, along with neighborhood developers and over time close to 100 residents of the Shirley Ave neighborhood, we undertook a planning process on how we could rejuvenate the Shirley Ave area and make it the type of place that we remember when certainly our parents remember when when it was a really busy shopping district, a place where people could go, cafes, sandwich shops. Obviously, it was a big shoe store destination for people. So, and we're trying to go back. We're not going to create delis, and we're not going to create shoe stores again necessarily, but there's no reason in the world why Shirley Ave shouldn't be the gateway from Revere Beach into Revere. And so that mural is part of a plan. We've got 7 action steps that we want to take to reinvigorate and rejuvenate the Shirley Ave area. That mural takes 3 of those aspects in terms of making sure you have a welcoming type of area for people to come to. And Alex did a terrific job. I mean, spectacular. I can't imagine the number of hours he must have put into it, but he did a terrific job in commemorating the beach and, kind of capturing everything that the beach epitomizes. So he did a good job.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to see it, it's just coming out of Revere Station, or if you're walking across Ocean Ave and just going out to Shirley Ave, you'll see it right on the right-hand side. You need to take a walk down there and take a look at it. It's great.
Spectacular.
Fantastic. Yeah. Just another shining piece to this jewel that is Revere Beach and in Revere, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Revere's been on somewhat of a little bit of a roll lately. I mean, as you know, something that I'm certainly very proud of, and our school department, really our whole city should be extremely proud of. You know, the National Center for Urban School Transformation just recognized Revere High School as the #1 high school in the nation. This is 10,000 applicants vying for best high school, best middle school, and best elementary. So 3 #1 schools of 10,000 applications. Revere was the #1 high school in the nation.
That's fantastic.
#1 high school, #1 urban high school in the nation, and that's based on a number of different key factors and indicators. So something we should be very proud of. The city of Revere won a national challenge recently that I was awarded with out at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, which was a national award, #1 small city in the nation, for a partnership between the U.S. Conference of Mayors and Google in helping small business get online. I think people know that, the importance today of having a website if you're a small business. 97% of people responding to a recent survey say that if they look for information, they look online as opposed to looking in a phone book. So clearly, if you're going to open up any kind of business, you want to have a web presence, yet only 50% or actually a little less than 50% of small business owners have a website. So this initiative helped us help our business community get their businesses online. And we were, as I say, the #1 small city in the nation to take on that challenge. Yeah. So again, something that the city's very proud of. We have a commitment not only to quality of life for our residents, which obviously, that as mayor, I mean, is a clear priority of mine. But I think we also have an obligation to do all we can to help our small businesses, because as they grow and they succeed, our neighborhoods succeed.
Yeah. And that speaks to, and I know you've worked very closely with the Chamber of Commerce, and I think the Chamber of Commerce was very actively involved in this piece, were they not?
The Chamber of Commerce was a tremendous partner in this. We partnered with the Chamber of Commerce. We partnered with the Interact Club, Youth in Action. It really was a collaboration that really, I think, helped the city of Revere stand out when Google and the U.S. Conference of Mayors were making their decision.
You mentioned the Interact Club, and I have to bring up, I was fortunate, I think it was April, to participate in the mentor program. So I spent half a day with 3 students from the Interact Club and from Revere High. And what a great resource those students are. I mean, it was so encouraging and so great to be able to spend the day and then to hear them all talk and to see where they're at and all the things they're involved with and the potential that exists.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Fierro Tucker, who now runs that program, David Colella had run that program in the past. She stepped in, hasn't missed a beat. Interact Club is a junior Rotary Club, and I remember back when I was president of the Rotary Club, this is going back many, many years ago, but when I was president of the Rotary Club, the incoming president at that time was John Berengia.
Yep.
And, I had said to John as I was leaving that I had learned about this program called the Interact Club, and I would have loved to have started if I had more time. And to John's credit, he took the ball, he ran with it, and here we are, 15, 20 years later, and the club is stronger than ever. And as you alluded to, Ed, what good kids. I mean, you had the opportunity to deal with 3 of them, and I can almost, without knowing who they are, tell you that they were probably really, really good kids. And
well, and what was really great about it to me is that because there is that untapped potential that exists within these students, because they're all, if you will, PC savvy, technically savvy, and have the skills and the expertise to lend their resources, if you will, to make the program, the Get Your Business Online program, the success it was. And I think that was a big part of it as well, yeah?
Oh, yeah, and by the way, Google wants to use Revere as one of 4 cities across the nation to beta test this program, taking it a step further. They love the fact, and I think this is where Revere was very unique, even amongst large cities. The large city winner was Louisville, Kentucky. The mid-sized city winner, I think, was Garland, Texas. And the city of Revere, Massachusetts was the small city winner. And one of the things that stood out amongst Google, in fact, representatives from Google said that the video that the city of Revere sent them actually went viral within the Google organization.
No kidding.
Because it was just so powerful, the fact that we brought in students. And in fact, we coined them tech buddies, I guess, right?
Yep.
Tech buddies?
Yes.
And they are stealing that name from us, from the city of Revere, as they continue to beta test this program across the country. So really, I can't say enough about the work that these kids did. And, when you start to think about the future of the country, the future of our city, I think people should recognize that based on a lot of these things that are happening locally in our schools, people should have a real high level of confidence that we've got some great kids here in our school system, teachers doing great work, administrators supporting their efforts. So there's a lot of really good stuff going on here in the city of Revere.
Yeah, and one of the quotes, and help me, the principal of the high school is
Dr. Lorenzo Garcia.
Dr. Lorenzo Garcia, and at the Chamber of Commerce Awards night, he spoke about how the students want to come to school. And I went, wow.
Yeah, that's a change for people like you and me, right? So
exactly. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Moving on to another subject, and again, changes within the city and good things. I read recently that the old Reardon's restaurant now is going to become an elderly housing unit. I think 39 units. Talk a little bit about that and how it came about.
Yeah, well, I think we all recognize the need for senior housing. This is going to be an over 55 project. And a lot of people, particularly people that are empty nesters now, they've got the bigger house they don't necessarily need. They want to be able to liquidate that asset and create some cash flow and maybe live in a situation that's a little smaller, a little more worry-free. You don't have to worry about the burner going, the roof leaking, all that stuff. So this is going to give people an opportunity to be able to maybe downsize a little bit but stay in the city that they love, presumably, the city of Revere. And so 39 units are going to be built. TND, which is Neighborhood Developers, was fortunate enough to receive a grant through Secretary Bilecki's office that's going to allow them to go forward now with this project, create 39 different units for people to take advantage of, and that's going to break ground in the spring of 2015.
All right, that's going to be great. So it's going to break ground in the spring of 2015. When do they expect to start occupying? Do they have any sense for that?
I'm not 100% sure. I think we're looking at close to a year's time before it's all built out. Okay. But once it is, in fact, I already have people asking about the application process on how to get in there.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt in my mind that they're not going to have any trouble filling the building. And I guess people should probably stay tuned as to when applications will start to go out and the selection process begins.
It'll be interesting. And moving on to another subject that we've talked about many, many times. We didn't talk about it the last time. We gave it a little bit of a breather, and that's the casino and the update on that. And I just read recently again that Boston finally signed their surrounding communities agreement, which was a major hurdle. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Boston, in our opinion, has always been a big deal because let's face it, as the saying goes, they're the 800-pound elephant in the room. They're the largest city in the Commonwealth. They abut the 2 applicants, and it was always important to me as the mayor of a host city that Boston signs on, and not through arbitration. And I think Mayor Walsh got a terrific deal from Mohegan Sun. He was able to protect the interests of his neighbors or his residents in East Boston. We've got a lot of obviously support is still in East Boston. Not everybody voted it down back on November 5th.
It's true.
There's a lot of people in East Boston that want to see Suffolk Downs survive, and so I think the deal that Mayor Walsh struck with Mohegan Sun sends a very positive signal to the Gaming Commission. You know, you think about it, Mohegan Sun is paying the city of Boston $18 million a year as a result of impacts and mitigation. Conversely, our competition over in Everett offered the city of Boston $650,000. I mean, there's a big disparity there, and that is a clear indication of what type of neighbor that Mohegan Sun is going to be, not only the city of Revere, but in the region. Yeah. And I think it also sends a very strong signal what kind of neighbor our opposition would be if they were to get the license.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And speaking of, you know, the commission and convincing the commission, of course, there were 2 hearings recently. I think one as early as last Tuesday night, and then a few weeks ago at the Revere High. Talk about that. I know you spoke at it. I spoke at it. A number of people spoke at it.
Yeah.
But the whole idea was to convince the commission that we all think that this is the best, you know, plan on the table, if you will, and why.
Right. Well, statutorily, you know, the Gaming Commission is responsible to hold a certain number of public hearings, within the applicant's host community. So they were required to have 2 public meetings here in the city of Revere. There were so many people that signed up for the first meeting that they had to call for a second meeting, which was simply an extension of the first meeting, so an additional 70 people could speak about the project and, you know, for the project in this case. So, you know, it was great to see so many Revere residents taking an active interest in this. I think it was, again, just another signal to the Gaming Commission of how much the city of Revere wants it. You know, when you think about, we had to come out twice, not once, twice. Both times over 40% turnout. Second time, February 25th, a 44% turnout. You know, as compared to a turnout over in Everett of 22% on a sunny June day, on a Saturday, they got a 22% turnout. We had on an 18-degree day in February a 44% turnout. So that's a clear indication of who really wants to make the commitment, wants to come out and support it.
Exactly. And so getting back to the hearings and the convincing of the commission, I mean, so everybody came out and spoke their mind about whether they were for it, against it, why they were for it, trying to convince the commission, those who wanted it, that it should be here. The commission is now going to go off and deliberate with all the information they have, everything that they've heard, and make their decision. I think it's in September. Is that correct?
Right. So the only caveat to what you just said is that there will be one more public hearing. Because
right.
if you recall, I said there's going to be 2 public hearings in the host communities. We had one with an extension, so
yes.
that counts as one. I believe it's going to be August 11th or August 12th, somewhere in there. There'll be the second public hearing. So anybody who hasn't been heard, or even if they have been heard, you know, if they want to, you know, offer a different, you know, different information, additional information, can go to that public hearing. On September 8th, the Gaming Commission is going to go into deliberations, and on September 12th, they're going to announce the winner of the license.
Okay. And then if people are not able to speak or want to voice their opinions, they can send it into the Gaming Commission. And I guess the question, and that part of that question is, you know, people trying to do all they can to convince the commission, what else might they do beyond what's been done already?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know that, you know, we have kind of casino fatigue here, and we've all testified numerous times about why we believe that a destination resort-style casino belongs in a community that's home to America's first public beach, that's home to the last thoroughbred racetrack in all of New England, and not put it on a remote, what I'll call toxic piece of land in an industrialized city. It just does not make sense. So I think people that support this project and support you know, the saving of 800 jobs at Suffolk Downs and want to see Revere come back to those glory days of old where we are the destination for people to come once again, should certainly send their letters off to the commission. They can go on to the Mass Gaming Commission's website, or they can certainly stay tuned to the City of Revere's website as to when the next public hearing will take place.
Yeah. And then, of course, once that decision is made, there is the final hurdle. Unfortunately, there is another hurdle that's going to come up in November. Now the state is going to get to vote on whether there's gambling in the state, period, yeah?
And I'm really glad you brought that up because there's a lot of confusion out there because people have said to me, well, we already voted on it. What do you mean we got to vote again? It's this whole separate issue. We voted on whether or not we as a community want to endorse a casino, a resort destination in our community. What's happened since is that the anti-casino people went to the Supreme Court and said we should all have a vote on this. 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts should get a say on whether or not 3 casino licenses should exist in Massachusetts. The Supreme Judicial Court, unfortunately, said, okay, we'll allow this to go forward on the ballot. So now we'll have to go out again, assuming we're the recipient of the license, and say, yes, we do support expanded gaming in Massachusetts. We don't want to send our tax dollars down to Connecticut or Rhode Island or New York or Pennsylvania. We want to keep these gaming dollars here locally, and not only gaming dollars, but you think of everything else that goes on in that resort. We keep calling it, and it's a resort destination. There's going to be spa, there's going to be restaurants, shopping, hotel. It's not just the casino. It's everything else that's brought with it. Suffolk Downs is going to invest $40 to $50 million into the racetrack if we're fortunate enough to get the license. They're going to plant, I think, somewhere around 2,200 trees, put picnic tables outside. It's going to be a spectacular complex. So,
yeah. So in point with the November is it's not done yet. Once we get the decision from the Gaming Commission, we are going to have to get through November. Hopefully we'll get through that one and it'll be done and clean and we can go on from there.
Absolutely.
Well, Dan, once again, it's always a pleasure. Really informative. There's so many we could go on for hours, I think, at this
Absolutely.
point. There's so many good things to talk about and so many other things to talk about as well. So it's been a pleasure as always. I'm looking forward to our next one.
I want you to enjoy the festival, and hopefully everyone here in the city can come down and enjoy the festival as well.
Take care.
You too.
All right. That's it for Revere TV for this conversation with the mayor. Till the next time, take care.